So, Blockbuster 3 is coming. The question is, are you ready for it? Blockbuster 3 has been one of those under-the-radar surprises that really just stunned me in every way imaginable. Now, among the things that are surprising about this new movie, besides the fact that it's even happening, the fact that we got the actors back, the fact that nobody noticed that their paychecks have been a lot lower than usual, cross your fingers, the one thing that's really surprised me is just the sheer length of this movie. Right now, Blockbuster 3, without even being finished, is my second longest production, behind, of course, the big one, Blockbuster 2. And, it's also kind of strange to think that it's been so long since I produced a movie of this caliber. This is, obviously, the biggest thing I've done since 2011 in terms of filmmaking. And, that itself makes it seem kind of weird in the sequel sense that there would be so much time between the movies, but it almost works. And you'll see it in the movie that the pacing is a lot different, the feel of the movie is a lot different. And, even if I had gone back and tried to purposely recapture the Blockbuster 2 kind of feel, it wasn't going to work because too much time has gone by. Too many things have changed in my life, in Frankie's life, in everyone's life for me to just pretend, Blockbuster 2 is still happening. And it's not. And that's what makes this new movie so unique. The plot line of this movie is another thing I should mention. The plot of this movie has changed literally so many times that it also kind of mutated from something that you can even say I started writing it in late 2011. Following Blockbuster 2, I started writing Blockbuster 3. But I didn't really know where I was going yet. I had a couple different ideas, a couple different characters that I didn't end up using, and then more later on that I really wanted to use. I don't know when it was exactly, but sometime around spring 2013, and at this point I thought I was completely done with this. I wasn't really in the mood or even capable of producing another movie, but somehow I just hit upon some different ideas and different ways to use my characters for Blockbuster 3 that would make it worth watching, in my opinion. Because there was nothing wrong, with the whole Blockbuster idea as it was, but I couldn't think of another 2-hour movie, another hour-and-a-half movie about the same thing. I just couldn't. So I wanted to rearrange things. I wanted it to be about the real person, the real Bobby Gaines, as it were. And that's kind of why I like it. That's also why I'm kind of not like hesitant, but I'm kind of like, it's kind of a risk for me in a way. It's not the same as what we're used to. There was kind of a template set with the first Blockbuster movie as far as, this is a goofy comedy, this is what we're doing. And then in Blockbuster 2, I kind of threw those rules out the window and said, all right, well, Bobby's still kind of goofy, but now we're going to make him seem a little more dark and psychopathic. The movie is 90 minutes already. Just let that sink in. The movie is an hour and a half, and I still haven't I'm probably another third or so away from finishing editing it, and then there's still other stuff to be done. So, right now, and I hate to say these kind of things, I'm always kind of the person that likes to push big predictions before they're even possible, but right now, I see no reason not to proclaim this as my longest movie yet. Blockbuster 3, it doesn't feel like it's longer than Blockbuster 2 either. That's what's kind of screwing with my mind. Like, Blockbuster 2, I don't have the script with me, but if I could show you the script of Blockbuster 2, you'd go, how the hell did you finish that? Blockbuster 2's script was like 100-something pages. This script is only like maybe 60 pages. I say only, but it's a long movie, and I expected it to be a fairly long movie. But an hour and a half going on 2 hours for this, I really did not see that coming. And there's still more to go. So, Blockbuster 2, as we know, it eclipsed the 2-hour barrier, but just barely. So there was, I guess technically there was a little further to go. Blockbuster 2 was 128 minutes, 2 hours and 8 minutes. This movie right now is 90 minutes, and it's going to be really close. If it's not the longest, it's going to be close to the longest, because it's going to be in that, I'm guessing, that 2-hour range. For Blockbuster 3, a movie that I thought had no chance to get off the ground. A movie that, for the longest time, didn't have a conceivable conflict, a really meaty plot. But then like I said, I just sat down, did a little U-turn, and thought of some different ideas. And here we are. So Blockbuster 3, what sets it apart besides the time of it, which, I'm going to get to more of that in future videos, because I'm really excited about this movie. I know I've spent almost no time talking about it, besides a couple rants here and there. But that's going to change, and that's going to change in a hurry. Blockbuster 3 is going to be taking over my channel in the next month or so. I don't have a set release date yet, but you can feel good about the fact that Blockbuster 3 is going to be taking over more of my productions going forward, which means it's only, so many videos away. Beyond that, though, I think I did a great job, and again, giving myself some needless praise, but just developing the other characters in this movie. And before I end this rant, this is something I wanted to touch on as well. you obviously can see the Blockbuster 3 script here, but this is something a little less current. And this is, that is Blockbuster 3. This is Crash Daniels, Try Another Day, from 2009. No edits made to it, nothing. This is the legit binder that I used. There's actually another copy in here somewhere. Bobby Productions, 2009, Crash Daniels, Try Another Day. John Carter, Dane Rue, Bobby Gaines, and some other characters I didn't even have the roles for yet. So, why am I reading you this bedtime story? Well, just, this thing is written, it's just funny to read these. Now, Crash Daniels, the original, was 32 scenes, so not as far off as you'd think, because the new movie's only like 50 scenes, so. But 32 scenes for me then was a huge deal. I remember, I mean, I'm sure some of you do too if you followed me back then. Crash Daniels in 2009 was like my apocalyptic final movie. I mean, it was literally all that. And it was filmed on a VHS camera, which is laughable now. And it was my debut as a villain. I was going to be Zach Masters, this crazy new character, who, by the way, just happens to appear in this movie as well. So it's just kind of funny to me how things change. Sometimes fast, sometimes over a long span of time. You know, you think you're doing something really significant, and maybe you are, maybe you're not, but in the case of Crash Daniels, you know, making a movie that was, it was about a 68-minute movie. At the time, it was my longest movie, but, you know, then to just shatter that with my next movie and the movie after that, and now I'm sitting on something that I never thought I would do. Back in 2008, 2009, I never, let me repeat that again, I never had the intention of making my movies this big. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was fun to make movies. I liked our fight scenes in the original movie hero movies. And then once I lost the locations to do some of that stuff, because I used to go to Avery Point, there were some like abandoned rooms we could use to just kind of have these fight scenes, these spectacular, well, by my standards, spectacular fight scenes. Once we lost kind of the rights to those, I was like, well, what are we going to do now? Just a bunch of movies at my house? And we tried that. You know, Movie Hero 2 and 3 was more based in, you know, my house and a couple local areas. And then you keep going from there, and, you know, just more kind of parks and stuff. But I made it work. And it got, as it went on, it got to a point with me where the location didn't matter as much, you know? I just needed a really good cast. And I've been fortunate enough to have that both through the early days and now with Arkaya and Frankie and Rhiannon and others just lending their talents. I've just benefited even more. So I thank all of them for their contributions, for sticking with me as long as they have to make a movie of this length. It's not easy, and it's still not done yet. And, of course, Alex, who came on in Blockbuster 2 and delivers a beautiful encore here, maybe even better than his performance in 2. So we're going to see what happens. But Blockbuster 3 is coming out soon. I'm not going to, you know, tease you too much about that because I don't know when it is coming out either. But it's a fair amount of the way done, and there's a lot to say about it. A lot will be said about it. So any comments, questions, feel free to leave them below. There will come a time when I will be addressing everybody's questions. So keep that in mind. Bobby Productions releasing Blockbuster 3, triple feature later this year. Look out for it.